Hello guys, here's a video on the cheapest guided knife sharpening systems that you can buy, which is the Lansky knife sharpening system. Let me show you what's inside. If you buy the standard option, you get 3 sharpening stones, your knife clamp, you get a tub of oil, and you get these steel rods, which are your knife guides. The standard stones have a 600 grit, this is a 280 grit, and this is your super coarse 120 grit for changing the edge profile. The reason why I like this kit so much is because there are a lot of different options for add-on stones. For example, this is a 2000 grit sapphire stone, which is used for polishing. There are some options for serrated knives, which I don't like that much. There are better options, for example, like the DMT cone sharpeners, but at least they're guided, and you can also get half round stones, diamond stones, and even natural sharpening stones. So let's get right in and set our sharpening system up. There are 2 ways to use the included knife clamp. One is with the Lansky table clamp, which is basically a C-clamp that has a peg on top that goes into this hole. And the other way is to use a vise. Since I already have a vise on my table, I will use that. And what you can also see is I put some tape on the clamps because your knife will still wiggle around a bit, and that can leave some aluminum residue on the steel, which you need to remove with a sponge. And that if you have really nice, highly polished knives, that can leave some scratches. So you either want to get the rubber clamps that look different and have a protective rubber coating, or you put some tape on your original ones. So here we are at the workbench. We will fasten our vise and put our guide in. One thing, if you use the included clamp with a vise, is, as you can see, this wobbles around quite a bit. It can move up and down. So you might want to take a piece of wood or a pencil and use it to jam in here. And this will keep it more stable. And you lose less force while you're sharpening. That helps quite a lot. Then we take a knife. I just took a simple kitchen knife, a bit shorter one. Really long blades are a bit difficult to use with the guide, but one thing with this system is that if you practice a bit, if you use the guide for some time, you will be able to use the stones freehand, which is a really big advantage over a whetstone, like this, for example, because you can use these stones easily to sharpen your garden tools or axes or whatever, which can be quite difficult with these stones because you need to bring the tool to the stone, and you can bring the stone to the tool with these ones. So let's put a knife in. You want to adjust this screw so that your knife just about goes in. So let's try. That doesn't work. Screw it out a bit. Now it slides right in, about as far as it goes, and then tighten it with the rear screw. Now we are picking our stone and our sharpening angle. For the angle, ignore these numbers on the guide, and also ignore all these recommendations. Sharpen your Japanese kitchen knife at 17 degrees and your European one on 20 or 25, or your utility knife at 30, whatever. Ignore all of this. What you want to do is take a Sharpie and run it along the edge of your knife. If you watched some other knife sharpening tutorials, you've probably seen this trick, because you don't want to reshape your entire angle unless the knife is completely destroyed, which it probably isn't. If you just have some light chips in it from normal use, this is totally fine. I always start with the 280 grit. The 120 is just, again, if you have heavy damage on your knife and you need to reshape it. 280 is good enough for most knives. So take your guide rod, put it in from the bottom. So now it goes. Then tighten it again. For lubricant, I stopped using the included oil because it just gets a bit nasty. After some time you get the oil everywhere and that's really annoying, so I just have a cup of tap water handy and just dip the stone in, and that's good enough. So let's see. I will use the 25 hole for my first pass and just run over it one time. So as you can see, I've taken off a tiny bit on the edge. I don't have a burr yet. Let's try go with a little bit shallower angle. So now I've gone back a little bit further, so I'm happy with this, and let's continue at the number 20 hole for this knife. So after you've done a few passes, you can check if you have a burr on the other side, then you know you're done with your current side. So I just run along it with my fingernail. I catch here, I catch here, I catch here, and I don't catch here at the front. So let's continue with this part of your knife. So here we are back. I'm now done with this side. If I try with my fingernail, I catch a burr all along the edge, which means we are done. So let's take our sharpener out. Make sure you clamp this down very good, and now you can flip the entire thing in your vise. Take your piece out, open the vise, and just flip it around. On this side, usually I find that I don't have to jam anything into it because the tightening screw touches the vise here. So we put this way. On the other side, use your Sharpie again. I often find, because this is a very simple sharpening system, that I have to use a different hole on the flip side for the sharpener. So I will just put my Sharpie on again and do the test. Sharpener, I will start off with 20 and give it a few passes. See how this looks. Yeah. This looks fine. So I will continue this side at the number 20 hole with the 280 grit until we're done, and then we can go on to polishing. So now I'm also done on this side. I can feel a burr again on the other side. So we are now ready to change our stones. Take your core stone out, wipe the excess stuff off your blade, and now we are onto the 600 grit. This needs very little work because we are already done, and this is just a polishing step before we can go on to stropping. So let's tighten this. Oh, wait. Tighten this, and let's finish off this side. Now that we're done with this side, we can flip it over. You know you're done because you can actually feel the stone glide over the edge much easier after you've polished it. So take out your guide, take out the knife clamp, flip it around. Be careful with the edge because this is now very sharp and you can cut yourself very easily. Tighten this down, jam a wooden piece in, and then on this side we basically just need to remove the burr, maybe go as far until you feel one at the other side, and then we can go on to stropping. So now we're done with polishing. I can feel a burr on the other side, so we can finally take our knife back out. Again, wipe off all your excess and your debris. You can clean the Sharpie off with just some alcohol or nail polish remover. So now we are onto stropping. I've cleaned off the blade. With this stropping step, we just want to polish the edge, take off these tiny burrs that are left from the polishing, and this really will give you a nice razor sharp edge. Lansky does sell stropping attachments for their guided sharpeners, but they're pretty expensive. They're 15-20 euros. You don't need guidance with stropping because you're just polishing over it. It doesn't need to be perfect. And for the same amount of money, you can get yourself a real piece of stropping leather. You can use some polishing compound. You can even use it without, but it's really not that expensive. And you can glue it onto a piece of wood like I did here, and this works just fine. So you want some nice pressure, and you can go in at a bit steeper angle than you sharpened the knife. And just with some good pressure, run over it. Flip it around. Just a few passes are enough. Feel if you've removed the burrs. I have. Can even see it in the camera. This is now nicely polished. You can even polish up if you just got a knife that doesn't have any sort of coating on it. You can even polish up the steel with it. Maybe there's some stuff left. This is from the polishing compound, but that just goes away in the sink. And now we're done. We have a nice razor sharp edge after just a few minutes of sharpening, and since it's guided, there's not much you can do wrong. So I just got myself some add. Let's try it out. This paper. It's really nice. You can even try, if you've got some hair left, you can try shaving with it. That's a nice edge. So, with just a few minutes of work, you can get these results basically every time. Just mind those steps. Use the Sharpie trick to find your sharpening angle. Don't listen to any guides because there are so many different shapes of edges out there. You can't just generalize it and say, hey, these kinds of knife, it's this angle. What's also nice about this kit is, as I said before, if you've got experienced, you don't have to use the guide anymore. You can just put your knife in your clamp, and then you can even do a contoured grind. You don't need to do a V-edge, or on a scanny knife, which are very easy to sharpen. You can just follow the initial grind on your knife and you're good. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I wish you great success sharpening everything you can find in your kitchen right now.